Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2677 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. In today's Wisdom Nugget, it's titled The Unseen Path of the Unchanging God, and it's concluding our trek through Psalm 77 with verses 13 through 20. Today we reach a powerful and awe-inspiring conclusion of our trek through Psalm 77 in the New Living Translation. In our last conversation, we plunged into the raw personal anguish of Asaph, the psalmist. We heard the desperate cries in the night, his sleepless torment, and his agonizing questions that plagued his soul. Has the Lord abandoned us forever? Will he never be kind to us again? Has his unfailing love vanished forever? He was a man that was drowning in doubt, unable to find comfort, even from the thought of God. But then a pivotal moment occurred. Asaph intentionally shifted his focus, resolving, "Recall all you have done, O Lord. I remember your wonderful deeds of long ago." This act of remembering God's ancient wonders became a lifeline for him, the first step out of the mire of despair. Now in these concluding verses, we witness the glorious outcome of the deliberate act of remembrance. Asaph's perspective completely transforms from anguish and questioning to profound awe and unwavering trust. He no longer asks if God has changed. Instead, he declares God's unchanging holiness, his incomparable power, and his unfailing sovereign leadership, even when the path is hidden. This is the ultimate resolution out of a spiritual crisis, leading to the powerful affirmation of God as the Shepherd King. Let us allow our hearts to be filled with awe as we witness triumph of faith over doubt, anchored in the undeniable truth of who God is and what he has done. First, let's read Psalm 77, verses 13 through 15. O God, your ways are holy. Is there any God as great as our God? You are the God who performs miracles. You display your power among the nations. By your strong arm you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. The psalmist begins this section with a triumph declaration of God's unparalleled character, a stark contrast from his earlier questioning about God's mercy and love. O God, your ways are holy. Is there a God as great as our God? Now the word holy is the Hebrew word kadosh, and here it signifies not just a moral purity, but also God's separateness, his transcendence, his utterly unique and unapproachable majesty. God's ways, his actions, his very nature are completely set apart from the human imperfection and doubt. This is a foundational truth that silences all questioning. The rhetorical question, is there any God as great as our God? Echoes the triumphant certainty of Psalm 71. Who can compare with you, O God? It's a resounding affirmation of God's incomparability, a direct refutation of any doubt that might have crept into Asaph's mind. There are no rival gods, no competing power that can match his greatness. This is a powerful declaration of the Israelites living among the polytheistic cultures. This incomparable God is then affirmed as the God of action. You are the God who performs miracles. You display your power among the nations. He is not a passive or distant deity. He is one who actively performs miracle, the Hebrew word pele. Those astonishing, extraordinary deeds that demonstrate his supernatural power. And he just doesn't do them in secret. He displays his power among the nations. This point of God's universal renown, his public demonstration of his sovereignty over all people, just as we celebrated in Psalm 76. His power is undeniable and visible in the world. And what is the greatest of these display of powers and miracles for Israel? By your strong arm you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. The strong arm is a classical biblical metaphor for God's immense power and might, often associated with the Exodus. Redeem, the Hebrew word ga'al, means to buy back, to liberate from bondage, often at a great cost. This points specifically to the Exodus from Egypt, where God, with his outstretched arm, powerfully delivered Israel from slavery. The descendants of Jacob and Joseph, specifically names of the patriarchs, connected the redemption directly with God's covenant promises made to their ancestors. This is the bedrock of Israel's identity and their confident hope, God's historical, undeniable act of salvation. This remembrance is what pulls Asaph out of his spiritual abyss. This section triumphantly declares God's unique holiness, his unparalleled greatness, and his demonstrated power in redeeming his people. Now let's move on to the concluding verses of 16 through 20, where the psalmist vividly recalls the cosmic response to God's presence and affirms God's hidden but certain leadership. When the Red Sea saw you, O God, the waters recoiled, the sea trembled with fear, the clouds poured down rain, the thunders roared in the sky, and your arrows of lightning flashed. Your thunders roared from the whirlwind, your lightning lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. The road led through the sea, your pathway through the mighty waters, a road no one ever saw. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Asaph now vividly describes the dramatic cosmic reaction to God's presence during the Exodus, particularly at the Red Sea. When the Red Sea saw you, O God, the waters recoiled, the sea trembled with fear. This is a magnificent poetic personification. The sea, a powerful and often chaotic force in the ancient thought, is depicted literally as seeing God and responding in terror. Its waters recoiled, or we could say shrank back or fled. The entire sea trembled with fear. This imagery underscores God's absolute sovereignty over creation, his power to command and control even the most untamable elements. The sea, by fleeing, participate in God's redemptive work. This divine manifestation was accompanied by a terrifying storm. The clouds poured down rain. The thunder roared in the sky. Your arrows of lightning flashed. Your thunder roared from the whirlwind. Your lightning lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. This is a description of a theophany, a dramatic appearance of God, often accompanied by natural phenomena that highlighted his power. The pouring rain, the roaring thunder, the flashing lightning, described as God's arrows, and the trembling earth all signify God's awesome, terrifying presence. This aligns with ancient Israelites' understanding of God's power at Sinai and in battle, as seen in Psalm 68 and 76. These elements themselves are instruments of his will, serving his redemptive purpose. Despite this overwhelming cosmic display, God performs a miraculous act of deliverance. Your road led through the Red Sea, your pathway through the mighty waters, a road no one ever saw. This is the culmination of the Red Sea crossing narrative. God created a road, or a way, though the seemingly impassable mighty waters, the path of his people, where no path existed. It was a miraculous, unprecedented act of salvation. But then comes a profound spiritual insight, a road no one ever saw. This can be interpreted in a few ways. It means a path that literally was invisible after the waters returned, leaving no trace. More deeply, it signifies that God's ways are often inscrutable, mysterious, and beyond human comprehension. His methods of deliverance are not always clear to us at the moment. We might not see his footprints or understand his plans, especially when we are in the midst of troubles that tormented Asaph. God works in ways that are hidden from human sight, yet his purpose is sure. This addresses a feeling of not seeing miraculous signs from verse 9. This addresses a feeling of not seeing the miraculous signs from verse 9 and the struggle to comprehend God's actions. God's presence and guidance are real, even if his path is unseen. The psalm concludes with a beautiful affirmation of God's benevolent leadership. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Despite the cosmic thunder and the hidden path, God is ultimately a tender shepherd. He guided his people with care, like a flock being led by its shepherd, ensuring their safety and provision. This leadership was mediated through the human instruments of Moses and Aaron, who were empowered by God to lead his people through the impossible circumstances. This imagery provides immense comfort and resolution to Asaph's earlier despair. The God who seemed to have abandoned his sheep in verse 1 is powerfully affirmed here as the faithful shepherd who leads his flock. Psalm 77 in its entirety is a masterful journey from a deep personal anguish and desperate questioning to profound awe and unwavering trust. It provides a timeless roadmap for navigating spiritual doubt by intentionally remembering God's unchanging character and his undeniable history of mighty redeeming acts. What profound wisdom can we draw from these concluding verses for our Wisdom Trek today? Firstly, when doubts whisper questions about God's character or presence, we must respond by declaring his holiness and incomparability. There's no other God like him. Secondly, our faith in God's present help is anchored in his past faithfulness. By recalling his wonderful deeds, his miracles, his redemptive acts, his powers over chaos, we are building a foundation of trust that enables us to believe that he will act again. Thirdly, the image of God's road through the sea, being a road no one ever saw, is a powerful reminder that God's guidance and deliverance may not always be clear or comprehensible to us at the moment. We may not see his footprints, but he is leading nonetheless. And finally, even in the midst of overwhelming cosmic power and hidden paths, Our God is ultimately a tender shepherd. He leads his people with care and precision, ensuring their safe passage through life's most formidable challenges. We can trust his hand, even when we don't understand his way. Let us, like Asaph, turn our hearts from despair to declaration, remembering God's wonderful deeds, trusting in his unseen path, and resting in his care of our Shepherd King. Thank you for joining me on this profound and ultimately redemptive trek through Psalm 77. I trust that this exploration of overcoming doubt and finding peace in God's unchanging nature has deeply resonated with your own journey. Join me again the next time as we embark on a new segment of Wisdom Trek, continuing to uncover the timeless truths of God's Word. And if you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, and most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you next time for more daily wisdom.